This is Eyewitness News with live breaking news.
Breaking news, a Metrolink train derails in downtown Los Angeles, triggering big delays for thousands of evening commuters.
More breaking news, a sports anchor in San Diego is shot several times and wounded while inside his car. Now the search is on for the suspect.
The family of American aid worker Kayla Mueller is speaking out after the U.S. government confirms her death.
Kayla has touched the heart of the world. The world grieves with us. The world mourns with us.
Good evening, I'm David Ono.
And I'm Rutabash Shabazi in for Colleen Sullivan. Welcome to Eyewitness News on LA56, LA's only live local newscast at 7 p.m. We begin with breaking news at Union Station in downtown Los Angeles. A Metrolink train derails right at the height of the evening commute. Bill Thomas is live over the scene in Air 7 HD. Bill?
Rutabash, it's a mess. Metrolink train number 906. This is the one that runs between Burbank and Union Station. According to the LA City Fire Department, the derailment was caused by a switching incident. Happened about 4:38 this afternoon. Happened only 150 yards away from Union Station. You can see the damage there. It's a bit dark, but you can see the axle partially removed from the track. Let's go to some tape we shot from Air 7 HD moments after that train derailment. LA City firefighters and Metrolink officials say there were no injuries reported. All passengers escorted off the train by LA County Sheriff's deputies, also LA City firefighters. They went one by one, car by car, everyone safely escorted off of the train. Even watched one lady in a wheelchair actually lifted off of the train and removed from the tracks. All those passengers walked all the way down to Union Station. A short walk, 150 yards. It took no time at all to get down there. Back to our live shot once again. How do you fix that? Metrolink officials say expect major delays into and out of Union Station for the remainder of the evening. Those delays could last 1 hour. Reporting live from Air 7 HD, I'm Bill Thomas, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Bill. More breaking news now. A former TV anchor in Los Angeles has been shot in San Diego. Kyle Kraska, who now works as the sports director at the CBS affiliate in San Diego, was shot several times in his car. The suspects sped off. And Eyewitness News reporter Alex Michelson, he's following this developing story from our newsroom. Alex.
David, the San Diego Police Department believes that this shooting was a targeted attack. KFMB says that he was shot multiple times, including in the leg and the stomach. Police are looking for the suspect while Kyle Kraska remains in surgery at this hour. Here's a photo of Kraska from KFMB's website. In the 1990s, he briefly anchored for KCBS TV here in Los Angeles, but he's been a fixture at Channel 8 in San Diego since 1999. Kraska was shot at least twice. The good news, police say he was alert and responsive in the ambulance on the way to the hospital. Let's take a look at some video from the scene in Scripps Ranch. It appears that shots were fired towards Kraska's Mercedes-Benz, which was outside his home. You can see the damage that the car sustained. San Diego Police Department is now looking for this suspect. We want to show you his photo. His name is Mike Montana. He's a 54-year-old white male. He's 6'3", 190 pounds. He was last seen driving a white minivan with Superior Painting written on the exterior. KFMB spoke with a man identifying himself as the suspect's landlord. He says that Montana was living in a shipping container in Santee and was on psychotropic medication.
The suspect is considered armed and dangerous, and that's why we would like the community to use caution. If somebody sees Mr. Montana or knows of his whereabouts, to call the police department.
This is video of Kraska anchoring the sports segment on KFMB for years. He led their coverage of the Chargers. He's well known in San Diego for his big personality. Let's take a look at Kraska's Facebook page. It's being flooded right now with well wishes from viewers and colleagues alike who are in shock about this shooting. Sources tell Eyewitness News that Montana had been contracted to paint Kraska's house. Police, though, have not released an official motive. We're live in the newsroom. Alex Michelson, ABC7, Eyewitness News.
Alex, thank you. The U.S. government has confirmed American aid worker Kayla Mueller is dead. The White House says Mueller's family received a private message from ISIS militants over the weekend notifying them of her death. It's still not exactly clear how she died or when. Mueller's family spoke out about their loss.
Kayla has touched the heart of the world. The world grieves with us. The world mourns with us.
Kayla Mueller's family broke their silence today, talking about the 26-year-old woman who dedicated her life to serving others.
Even as a little girl, Kayla was a bright, inquisitive, kind little girl. At a very young age, Kayla knew her passion. She knew her calling.
Mueller is the fourth American to die while being held by Islamic State militants. Her family keeping her kidnapping from a Syrian hospital a secret for a year and a half, fearing for her safety. The White House pledging to bring those responsible for Mueller's murder to justice.
ISIL, regardless of her cause of death, is responsible for it. This, after all, is the organization that was holding her against her will.
In Mueller's home state of Arizona, vigils and memorials have popped up. Her friends and family remembering her as a bright, empathetic humanitarian, someone who had done more in her 26 years than most people could imagine in a lifetime.
She has this amazing ability to share another person's suffering and still add a little happiness to it.
In a letter Kayla wrote to her family while in captivity, she said, quote, "The thought of your pain is the source of my own. Simultaneously, the hope of our reunion is the source of my strength."
In Kayla's letter to Marsha and Carl, she wrote, "I have come to see there is good in every situation. Sometimes we just have to look for it. And right now, that's what we're all trying to do."
Arizona Representative Paul Gosar's office confirms to ABC News there were a series of foiled rescue attempts at the Syrian terrorist camp where Kayla was being held, including one when a man came into the camp claiming to be her husband, but they say she denied she had a husband because she was not in on that plot.
The fighting intensifies in eastern Ukraine as leaders from several countries arrive in Belarus for peace talks to end the fighting there. Today, President Obama spoke with the leaders of both Russia and Ukraine. Obama reiterated U.S. support for Ukraine's sovereignty in his call with Russian President Vladimir Putin and emphasized the importance of a diplomatic resolution.
Certainly the decision about offering additional military assistance to the Ukrainian military will be affected by how seriously Russia participates in these negotiations and how committed they are to actually living up to their end of the bargain.
The Ukrainian president says the talks are the last opportunity for ending the fighting that has killed more than 5,400 people since April.
It was a breaking story that played out live on Eyewitness News. A reckless pursuit, an armed carjacking, another attempted carjacking. Today we're learning more about suspect Aaron Lorda, who was finally shot by police and taken into custody. Eyewitness News reporter Sid Garcia has the latest.
It was a wild pursuit by any standard. The suspect, 29-year-old Aaron Lorda, making a run for it at any cost. He crashes in Southgate, jumps out of the car, armed with a gun, trying to carjack one driver, then forcing another, Elizabeth Yadawan, out of her car and racing away. The LAPD right on his tail.
He just came up to me and pointed the gun at me and told me to get out my car.
One of the many viewers watching it on TV was LAPD Chief Charlie Beck.
It was a well-managed pursuit. The officers kept in mind public safety until the suspect demonstrated that he had a willful disregard for human life. And then they closed up and unfortunately resulted in an officer-involved shooting, but the officers, by doing that, surely saved some lives.
Officers tried to pull Lorda over for driving a stolen car in East Los Angeles. That's where the pursuit began. Chief Beck says when Lorda carjacked a car and started crashing into other cars during the pursuit, his officers worked on ending the high-speed pursuit quickly and safely. When Lorda made a run for it in Montebello, officers were there shooting and wounding Lorda.
Those are the decisions that have to be made in these things. You're constantly weighing public risk of the pursuit versus public benefit of not only warning people as the car comes through.
For the victims and witnesses, it's something they'll never forget and never want to ever experience again.
This guy just hit me and hit me so hard, and I hit myself on my chest. And I was so scared. I don't wish that on nobody. I can't even breathe right now.
Here is a partial list of Lorda's past convictions, which include attempted robbery, assault and battery, disturbing the peace, and attempted grand theft auto. Lorda remains in custody, bail set at $100,000, but the chief indicated because he has a parole hold on him, he's not getting out of jail anytime soon. Reporting from police headquarters in downtown Los Angeles, I'm Sid Garcia, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
A young girl is recovering after being shot while sitting at a school bus stop in South Los Angeles. It happened around 7 o'clock this morning on South Central Avenue near 92nd Street. The 13-year-old was shot in the leg by a stray bullet. A person of interest was detained but not arrested. The girl was listed in stable condition. The last 4 days have been so violent and deadly in South LA that the LAPD has gone on a modified tactical alert.
We are also placing the entire Los Angeles Police Department in uniform starting next shift, and we will continue this posture until we see some let up.
Detectives believe the recent violence is connected to some type of gang feud.
A much-anticipated launch by SpaceX has been scrubbed this afternoon because of dangerous high winds at Cape Canaveral. The payload is a scientific observatory designed to provide an early warning of solar storms that could trigger power outages on Earth. SpaceX, based in Hawthorne, will try again tomorrow. SpaceX is also in the news because of this unmanned capsule called the Dragon. It was released from the space station today and sent back to Earth. A month ago, the Dragon brought supplies up to the station. SpaceX has a contract for 12 resupply missions, and this was the 5th. The capsule splashed down in the Pacific about half an hour ago.
A wild ride for airline passengers in Houston. Up next, a frightening landing for passengers. The latest on the investigation.
Plus, a couple's urgent plea for measles vaccinations after their 4-month-old child is infected with the contagious virus.
Plus, we had a warm one today. It is only getting warmer, and those winds picking up in that 70 forecast.
NBC makes a decision on the future of Brian Williams. I'm George Pinocchio. The action taken in tonight's Hollywood Wrap. Plus, Jon Stewart makes a major announcement about his future in late-night television. Next.
The NTSB is investigating a dramatic emergency landing at George Bush Intercontinental Airport in Houston. Watch as this U.S. Airways plane lands without its nose gear. Sparks fly, but the Houston-bound flight from Philadelphia was able to land safely. The pilot noticed the landing gear wasn't coming down and decided to make the landing anyway. Passengers describe the terrifying moments.
There were some sparks and things flying when I looked out the window, and smoke, and you could smell kind of burning rubber. But we slid to a stop. As soon as we stopped, the fire department was out there. They sprayed everything with foam.
Passengers used emergency slides to exit the plane. One passenger was hurt, although the injury is not believed to be serious.
A Pasadena couple offers a stern message about vaccination after their infant son comes down with the measles. Before a rash appears, the symptoms can look like the flu. And now the Loop family fears many could have been exposed. And health specialist Denise Tador has their story.
Just like this Facebook posting, within a day, the measles rash on 4-month-old Mobius Loop went viral.
And then when he woke up the next morning, his fever was almost 102, and he had the rash on there were a couple spots on his belly and some on the back of his head.
The rash started Super Bowl Sunday. At the ER, Chris Loop feared the worst.
Some can die, and some can have those other horrible complications, and I just didn't want that to be him.
Although they don't know for sure, Chris and Ariel retraced their steps and believe Mobius may have been exposed during a mid-January trip to Disneyland. While both parents are vaccinated, infants don't receive the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine until they're 12 months old. That's why babies as young as Mobius are at risk.
Herd immunity relies on everybody that can get vaccinated doing so.
Throughout this ordeal, Mobius's parents went through a range of emotions: fear for his life, anger over people who don't vaccinate, and then finally guilt over who he could have exposed.
It can stay in the air for 2 hours afterwards, so anybody that was, where we were or there 2 hours after was potentially exposed.
The Pasadena Health Department is tracking everyone who came in contact with Mobius 4 days before the rash and 4 days after. The Loops are grateful Mobius is recovering, but they hope their son's story serves as a wake-up call to parents who choose not to vaccinate.
They're trying to make the best decisions for their children, and I get that, but in that case they're making a misinformed decision, and it does have consequences.
Denise Tador, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
And by the way, count on Eyewitness News for the latest updates on the measles outbreak. You'll also find information about vaccinations on ABC7.com.
Well, another warm day today. Jonathan Novak joining us now.
Pushing records. Looks like we're going to be pushing them for at least a couple more days. We've got winds kicking up. It is going to be a non-February-like forecast. And if you want some rain, we might have that in there for you, but it looks like we're going to be talking winds and warmth, at least in the short term. That could be pushing temperatures into the 90s. Can you believe it? Today was 82 in San Gabriel. We had 83 in Riverside. Woo! 80, Santa Ana. How about that for some heat? We'll talk about the temperatures first, and then we're going to talk about the winds as we go through tomorrow and Thursday here in your forecast. Van Nuys, a little breezy tonight, 10 miles an hour. It is 70 degrees still for you. Current temperatures around the area are very similar. As you look toward Burbank and Ojai, you're right around 70, 71, 68 from Fullerton to Ontario, mid-60s Long Beach to downtown LA, and lower 60s down around Santa Ana, where again it was hot for you and hot for everybody. The wind advisory now, let's turn to the winds and what they're going to be doing the next 2 days especially. They will also be Santa Ana winds, warming the temperatures up. So as we look for the northern counties here, look for LA and Ventura County, we have a wind advisory in effect for tomorrow. All the way through Thursday afternoon, we could see gusts about 45 miles an hour. The mountains of LA County, and as you head down towards San Bernardino, Riverside County into the OC, we have a high wind warning for some portions in effect through Friday 10 a.m. And that could be gusts of 60 miles an hour for that period of time. The reason being, we have this area of high pressure. You see this arc right here in the atmosphere. Right? This is actually a ridge that has been building over the last 24 hours. It'll continue to build over us for the next 48 hours. And around it, those winds, of course, go clockwise, as we always talk about, and they come down off the mountains. That air compresses as it goes down the slopes, and then it heats up. And that's going to mean temperatures, again, as those winds will be kicking up, will also be going up toward about 90 degrees in some of the inland areas. So this is actually not the rainfall, but this is actually the wind forecast. I want you to look over here, and you can see here on the legend. Well, actually, this is the rainfall legend, but if we had the wind legend, this would actually be about 45-mile-an-hour wind gusts from Santa Clarita down to Oxnard. Now, look at the bullseye that happens as we go through Thursday. You'll see the same color as you go through Ojai down toward Oxnard, and then over here in the mountains down toward Palm Springs, that yellow, that's actually an indication of 60-mile-an-hour winds for portions of the inland areas of San Bernardino and Riverside counties on Wednesday and Thursday. All right, so on top of that, the heat that we're going to have, this is just very unlike any kind of February weather we normally, of course, would have. And as we go through the weekend, it looks like it's going to be staying pretty warm overall. So temperatures tomorrow in the 80s. The winds are going to be kicking up in the morning and the early afternoon time. And then Thursday, the same. Look at the record on Thursday, 91. We're forecasting, I got 89 right now, so we're going to get very close to that on Thursday. We cool it off a couple of degrees on Friday, and then still hot on Saturday. The only difference will be the winds will be calming down a little for the weekend. So definitely keep the shorts around, keep the t-shirt handy. Valley's IE, you guys are going to have gusts up to about 55, 60 on Thursday. Look at that, 90 degrees. And then next week, now I mentioned an inkling chance of rain. Right now just clouds on Sunday, but we're going to watch this system that rolls through toward the sunny Monday time frame. Right now it's going to be dry, it looks like, but we could maybe see some showers if it develops in that direction. The beaches, lower 80s for a few days. The mountains are going to be mild on Friday, but the air over you is actually cool with these types of events, so we'll see gusty, cool conditions for Wednesday, Thursday for you, and the same in the high desert, lower 70s, sunny and warm and breezy. So guys, the winds will be kicking, the temperatures will be kicking up as well, and we're going to hope for maybe that storm for the end of the forecast to maybe develop a little bit.
Yeah, get rid of this stuff and give us some rain, Jonathan. Yeah. All right, thank you. Tonight's Hollywood Wrap now. Taylor Swift goes the extra mile for a loyal fan.
Plus, Oscar news. Here's George Pinocchio with the details. But first, a major change on the news anchor desk.
Oh, yeah, big change. It's official. NBC has suspended Brian Williams for 6 months without pay. The nightly news anchor and managing editor will be off the air for misleading the public about his experiences covering the Iraq War. NBC Chief Executive Steve Burke said that Williams' actions were inexcusable and jeopardized the trust he has built up with viewers. But he added that Williams deserves a second chance. In the meantime, Lester Holt will anchor the broadcast. Another big TV change on the horizon. After more than 15 years on Comedy Central, Jon Stewart announced he is leaving The Daily Show. Stewart made the announcement during the taping of tonight's episode. He will step down sometime later this year. Since Stewart joined the show back in 1999, the satirical nightly news program has earned 19 Emmy Awards. Today's Oscar news involves a previous winner. Jennifer Hudson has been added to the growing list of Oscar performers. Producers Neil Marin and Craig Zadan would only reveal that they are creating several musical sequences for the show and say they could not be happier that Jennifer will be performing one of them. And who's been added to the presenters list? Another Jennifer Aniston, plus Sienna Miller and Kerry Washington. They'll all be looking for the perfect gown for Oscar Sunday. 4 actors have also been tasked with working the Oscars: Chris Pratt, Chris Rock, David Oyelowo, and John Travolta. Will we have another Adele Dazeem moment? You know, we can only hope. Oscar Sunday is February 22nd. Our live coverage on ABC7 kicks off at 2 p.m. with all the red carpet fun. And finally, a surprise of a lifetime for a true blue Taylor Swift fan. Woodland Hills resident Jill Ralke loves Taylor Swift, like really, really loves. Jill had posted on Tumblr that she'd be going to the Grammys. Seems Swift saw the post, and after much wrangling by security and Taylor's publicist, she was able to meet up with Jill at the event. Believe me, this is the Cliff's Notes version of Jill's very emotional post. She got not one but 2 pictures with her idol and said Grammy Sunday was the best night of her life. No surprise there. That is tonight's Hollywood Wrap.
Awesome.
Great.
All right. Well, up next, a family's beloved dog's loud bark turns into a major legal battle. How the controversy could cost them their home.
Plus, a search for thieves who targeted a local auto shop, making off with nearly a dozen cars. Well, you have to listen to this story. It's a lesson for all of us. A Seattle woman is in danger of losing her house because of her dog's barking. His name is Copper, and actually, it's not really his fault. The neighbor claims Copper barks constantly and loudly, so the neighborhood filed suit seeking more than $500,000 in damages. Copper's owner, Denise, was served the papers but thought it was so ridiculous she ignored them. That's a big mistake. When she failed to respond to the suit, the neighbor won a judgment by default. Next thing Denise knew, a lien was slapped on her house and it's been put up for sale.
I take full responsibility. I didn't respond. I don't know why. I just didn't think it was real or something.
You can bring a frivolous lawsuit and win if the other side doesn't show up.
So Denise has now hired an attorney and is fighting this case. However, it may be difficult to get that judgment dismissed. She's in a big mess there.
That is a huge mess. All right, well, we're updating the evening's top stories next at 7:30.
Including more 20 years after a Cal State Fullerton student was found murdered. The trial finally gets underway for her accused killer.
And Alabama's court decision first leads to celebrations for same-sex couples, then confusion and at least one arrest.
Live from ABC7, this is Eyewitness News at 7:30 p.m. on LA56.
Top story at 7:30, a train derailment at Union Station in downtown L.A. I'm David Ono.
And I'm Ruta Shabazi. This is Eyewitness News on LA56, LA's only live local newscast at 7 p.m. A Metrolink train derailed right at the height of the evening commute at around 4:38. This is the train 906, which travels between Burbank and Union Station. The LA City Fire Department says a switching incident caused the train to derail. No one was injured. All the passengers were escorted off the train and walked down to to Union Station. Expect major delays for trains coming in and out of Union Station for the rest of the evening.
The search is on for a man suspected of shooting a sports anchor outside of his home in a San Diego suburb. Police say Kyle Kraska, the sports director at the CBS affiliate in San Diego, was shot several times this afternoon. It appears that the shots were fired towards his car, which was outside his home. Authorities have named Mike Montana as a suspect. He's a 54-year-old white male, 6 feet 3 inches tall, 190 pounds. He was last seen driving a white minivan with Superior painting written on the exterior. Kraska was reported to be awake and responsive and has been taken into surgery.
Opening statements have begun in the trial of a man charged with the 1994 murder of Kathy Torres. Samuel Lopez is accused of stabbing to death his on-again, off-again girlfriend. Orange County Bureau Chief Eileen Frere reports today on what happened in court.
Sam Lopez sits before a jury more than 20 years after the mutilated body of his ex-girlfriend, Kathy Torres, was found in the trunk of her car parked outside a hospital in Placentia.
Kathy was stabbed dozens of times. Her throat had been slashed. And in fact, you're going to hear testimony, ladies and gentlemen, she was stabbed so many times, it's difficult to count how many.
Prosecutors say the 20-year-old Cal State Fullerton honors student left work at a local Save-On store February 12, 1994, but didn't make it home. Prosecutors say her family reported her missing and tried to reach Lopez, who was her on-again, off-again boyfriend who lived across the street.
And as the days go on, day by day, Sam never came to the house. Never took the 50-foot journey across the street.
Her car located a week after her disappearance. Inside it, forensic evidence belonging to Lopez's cousin, Javier. Authorities say it wasn't until 2007, with improved technology, DNA evidence linked Lopez to the crime.
According to Sam, at 8:15, Javier Lopez and Sam Lopez are together on that night.
The two provided alibis for each other. The defense told jurors Sam Lopez had nothing to do with Torres's murder.
Javier Lopez was the killer. Javier Lopez killed Kathy Torres. All the physical evidence points to that.
Prosecutor Matt Murphy told jurors about Lopez's issues involving jealousy and how Lopez had asked Torres to elope with him.
Mr. Murphy's saying he had a motive because she didn't want to elope with him. Mr. Murphy can say whatever he wants. It doesn't make it true.
Now, opening statements finished today. Testimony will continue tomorrow. Sam Lopez's cousin, Javier, is also charged in connection with the murder. He's due in court next month. And Sam Lopez's brother, Armando, is also charged as an accessory after the fact. He's due in court in May. In Santa Ana, Eileen Frere, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
A 22-year-old dance instructor is set to be charged tomorrow for molesting a 13-year-old student. Thomas Cook is accused of having oral sex with one of his students, and investigators believe there could be more victims. Cook worked at Dance Dynamics Studio in Hesperia. One parent says she wasn't surprised to hear the allegations.
It made me feel really uncomfortable because he always had a crowd of little girls around him. He would always play, they would wear his baseball hat, he would take off his vest and throw it at them and just chase them like he was playing tag or, like he was one of the kids.
Police say Cook was also a dance instructor in the city of Upland, and he would routinely go on out-of-town trips to competitions with his students. Ramped up security tonight at Beverly Hills High School for their game against rivals Santa Monica High. It's the first time the two schools have faced off since a brawl broke out after a game 3 weeks ago, that is. And Eyewitness News reporter Robert O'Gean has video of that brawl and more on the measures being taken to make sure tonight's game is safe.
This amateur video shows a skirmish spilling out onto a parking lot near Santa Monica High School. It happened shortly after a basketball game between Santa Monica High and Beverly Hills High. Students from both schools shouted expletives at each other. Some went so far as to do damage to the car of a Beverly Hills High School student.
These two schools are known to be
the greatest of rivals.
Jackson Prince is a student journalist at Beverly Hills High. He witnessed the skirmish in the parking lot 3 weeks ago.
There's one student who claims that he went to the hospital after being punched in the jaw, and there's another student who claims to have a lot of damage in his car.
Officers from the Beverly Hills and Santa Monica police departments will be on hand for tonight's game. These two teams are in first and second place of the Ocean League, and administrators at both schools have said they're working with law enforcement to ensure a safe atmosphere for tonight's game.
I don't foresee any issues here with the game tonight at all.
J.B. Williams says his child plays basketball at Beverly Hills High.
I think that was an isolated incident. We've gone many years without having any incidents, so I just think that was an isolated incident, and I am certain that you're not going to see a repeat of it over here.
In Beverly Hills, Robert Olguin, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
The day before the anniversary of Whitney Houston's death, family, friends, and fans are keeping her daughter Bobby Christina Brown, in their thoughts and prayers.
It's tomorrow is Judgment Day.
Hundreds gathered for a vigil called Shining a Light for Healing for Bobby Christina Brown in a suburban Atlanta last night. Bobby Christina is the only child of Houston and Bobby Brown. The 21-year-old has been on life support since she was found face down in a bathtub late last month. Relatives say she is fighting for her life. The driver killed in a multi-vehicle crash involving Bruce Jenner did not have a current driver's license. California DMV records show 69-year-old Kim Howe's license expired in 2007. She was killed in a chain reaction crash Saturday in Malibu. Authorities say a Prius slowed down and was hit by Howe's Lexus. Jenner's Cadillac Escalade then slammed into the Lexus, sending it into oncoming traffic, where it collided head-on with a Hummer. Howe died at the scene.
Tonight, an all-out manhunt is on for whoever stole 10 vehicles from an auto repair shop in Stanton, including cars, SUVs, and trucks. Eyewitness News reporter Greg Lee tells us investigators are hoping surveillance video will lead to an arrest.
Take a look at this surveillance video from Sunday around 9:30 in the morning. A man dressed in all white walks up to this Camaro in the parking lot of an auto shop in Stanton. After checking it out, he gets in and drives off. He doesn't stop there. Sheriff's deputies believe the same man came back at 11 a.m. for a Dodge Ram pickup truck, then around 2 for a Jeep. And that's only what was caught on camera.
I would say that's what makes this particular incident so unique, is that 10 vehicles were taken at one time.
10 cars belonging to customers of Tunex Auto Service. Deputies say the thefts happened between Saturday night and Monday morning while the shop was closed. The lock on the gate was cut open. An employee at the shop says about $100,000 worth of vehicles was taken.
They range from 2006 all the way up to 2013, 2014 newer vehicles.
Since Monday morning, sheriff's deputies and employees have spotted and recovered 5 of the 10 stolen cars in areas close to the shop.
It's possible that whoever the suspect or suspects are removed the vehicles from the property here and then parked them in an area that was relatively close by so they could be accessed at a later time.
Deputies don't know if the man in the surveillance video worked alone or if others helped him. Whatever the case, they believe whoever did this knew what they were doing.
I don't know exactly what information the suspects may have known, but again, they took 10 cars and it occurred over, we believe, a relatively short period of time.
If you have any information about these car thefts, you're asked to call Orange County Crime Stoppers at 855-TIP-OCCS. That's 855-847-6227. Reporting in Stanton, Greg Lee, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
More Alabama courthouses issued marriage licenses today, but other counties defied a federal judge's order and shut down rather than sell marriage licenses to same-sex couples. ABC's Marcy Gonzalez reports the dispute and confusion are headed for a showdown in federal court.
Marriage license in hand. This was a day Eleanor Shue and her bride, Jessica White, worried may never come.
We thought we'd have to go to state, and now we get to do it here.
A celebration still put on hold for so many other gay and lesbian couples in Alabama. The state became the 37th in the nation to allow same-sex marriage when a federal judge overturned the state's voter-approved ban. But then Alabama Supreme Court Chief Justice Roy Moore defied that ruling, ordering state judges not to issue marriage licenses to same-sex couples.
Well, I think a redefinition of the word marriage is not found within the powers designated to the federal government.
While more than a dozen counties are allowing same-sex marriages, most state judges followed Moore's order. Today, more than 50 of them are still refusing to issue licenses to gay and lesbian couples.
We've waited 33 years for this. I mean, it's a big disappointment.
The issue sparking protests and rallies.
Going to the courthouse for love.
And at least one arrest at one of several courthouses issuing licenses but not performing weddings. This woman was taken into custody after the sheriff says she tried to perform a ceremony inside a probate judge's office.
She was standing up for our rights to get married.
Alabama's Governor and Chief Justice Moore say they're waiting on the U.S. Supreme Court to decide on the issue, which could happen this summer. Marcy Gonzalez, ABC News, New York.
The family of a young woman with Down syndrome wants to make her 25th birthday extra special.
Up next, how you can get involved in a birthday card campaign. Her family told us about it with the hashtag ABC7 Eyewitness.
And while we continue to look for rain in the forecast, what we do have, hot weather and really strong winds. I will detail it coming up in your 7 days. Stick around.
Here is a story sure to put a smile on your face about a local mom's creative idea for giving her daughter a birthday to remember.
Yeah, people around the world are pitching in to help make it happen. And as Eyewitness News reporter Alex Michelson explains, you can too.
Ashley, I got you something. Got you a birthday card.
When Ashley Diaz's mom reads our birthday card out loud, you can see Ashley light up.
This world is a little brighter today because it's your birthday.
Ashley is being flooded with cards from people all over the world.
It's been amazing that people have shared.
Cindy recently set up a Facebook page to document Ashley's journey with Down syndrome. The goal? Showcase their family's love for Ashley and moments when Ashley's dreams become a reality. A new dream, 2,500 likes on that Facebook page, and 2,500 birthday cards before Ashley's 25th birthday on February 19th.
We wanted to do this event just so that she can have a celebration. She doesn't have a big circle of friends, and so we wanted to do something different for her 25th birthday.
Not only are people sending cards from all over the world, but they're also sending presents as well, including a Hello Kitty clock and purse and stickers, all sorts of things.
Her favorite, though? These cards with Justin Bieber's face on them, sent from Liverpool, England. So far, they've received about 350 cards, but are hoping ABC7 viewers will help achieve the goal of 2,500. She posted the story on our ABC7 Facebook page asking for help.
Please. That would make Ashley's day.
The address to send a card, P.O. Box 9268, Whittier, California, 90608.
Does it make you really happy when you get these cards?
Yes, Mom.
Yes, it does.
Yes.
Big smile on your face, right?
Yes, Mom.
Yeah. Well, happy birthday to you. Can you give me a high five?
Yes.
All right. Happy birthday.
In Whittier, Alex Michelson, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
We learned about this story with a post on the ABC7 Facebook page. Share your stories on social media with the hashtag ABC7 Eyewitness, and on ABC7.com you'll find the information you need to send Ashley a birthday card.
Yeah, she'll have those cards forever and cherish them.
Yeah, we've got to take down the address. Go do it after the show.
Yeah. Get ready for the Santa Ana winds. Jonathan Novak has your complete forecast coming up next.
Plus, in sports, Magic Johnson gives his opinion of the current state of the Lakers, what Magic is saying about management now.
And hoping for a romantic Valentine's Day? You'll first have to survive Red Tuesday. Today marks the busiest dumping day of the year.
Looks like more hot temperatures and some wind headed our way. Let's head over to Jonathan Novak.
You know, we've got the heat, we've got the wind, we want the rain. It's the one word we just can't keep putting in the forecast, but we wish we would, but we can't. So we talk winds and we talk warmth. 78 was our high today. It was warmer than yesterday in downtown. Normally we're at 68. So we're going like this for those temperatures. In fact, records could be broken over the next couple of days. Tonight, 66 downtown. It's a pleasant night. Very warm. Santa Clarita, 74 right now. 71 in Temecula. And good evening, Palm Springs. 77 for you. We're in the lower 60s at the coast. High pressure just bearing down on us. It's going to be building over the next couple of days, and a couple of things are going to happen as a result. I'd already mentioned the temperatures are going up. Well, those winds will also be kicking in, too. It looks like we could see, especially for Thursday, some damaging winds around the area, especially the southern counties, around Riverside, San Bernardino County, down into the OC. That's high pressure right there. Again, it's going to be building in over here, over our state, I should say, the western portion of the country, and over here to the south-southeast, an area low pressure is going to be building in, and between them is where we're actually going to be getting those winds, and it's, as a result, prompting a wind advisory for LA County and for Ventura County, but a high wind warning. This is already in effect for tomorrow morning through Friday morning. For San Bernardino, Riverside County valleys, we could see Thursday morning a period of winds with gusts from 60-plus miles an hour making their way down toward Orange County. That would be Thursday morning, and again, some of those forecasts for the winds look like 65, 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts in that area, portion of the area. The future wind forecast, let's take a look here. Keep an eye on the legend right here. I'm going to stop this going into tomorrow morning, 11 a.m., and this is about 40 miles an hour or so from about Santa Clarita down toward Oxnard, and we could see gusts about 55, maybe 60, 55 probably or so, and then down here to the southern counties, especially on Thursday, 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts plus. So above that, Thursday morning, I'd say that's probably going to be a window from about 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Thursday. Actually, both days about the same kind of time frame for the strongest gusts. Thursday, though, will be the strongest, it looks like, in terms of any potential for damaging winds down in the southern counties. So highs tomorrow hot. On top of it all, 87 in Encino, 88 in Northridge. Wow. 83 Ontario, just taking it in. 86 Mission Viejo and 82 in Temecula. Hot forecast, breezy, windy, really windy. 2 days of it, and then we'll calm it down a bit on Friday and the weekend, but still hot. We're not back into the 70s even by Sunday, and the lower 70s until next week. Valleys, i.e., a very gusty forecast for a couple of days, and these will be, it looks like, damaging winds potentially, especially on Thursday morning. 90 for a high on Thursday. We edge into the forecast for the weekend for the forecast on Saturday, and it looks like those temperatures will just slowly dip down into the upper 70s on Sunday. The beach is nice weather, a little breezy for you. Some of those winds will filter in. They'll manage to make their way down to the coast, and we'll just say winds a little bit breezy and lower 80s for a few days, and the weekend is nice. Mountains cooler and gusty through the passes of 60 miles an hour on Thursday, and the temperatures into the 60s for you in the weekend. The high desert as well. We'll see breezy conditions, temperatures in the 70s for just about that whole forecast. No rain. Watch out for those winds. It's going to be a little dangerous the next couple of days.
Thank you, Jonathan.
You're welcome.
As of late, the road has not been kind to the Lakers. 4 straight on the road, 4 straight losses, but the Purple and Gold look to break that losing streak in the friendly confines of Staples tonight against Denver, and we'll have your highlights tonight when it's 11 p.m. on ABC7. In the meantime, Magic Johnson made the rounds at ESPN today, and he wasn't afraid to talk about the current state of the Lakers. The Laker legend admitted it is hard to watch the team right now and knows that they are trying their best, but right now it's just not enough. Magic, who has not been a huge supporter of new Lakers boss Jim Buss, says he invests a lot of money to take clients to Laker games and just wants to know the team is headed in the right direction.
What's the game plan, okay? What's the strategy for getting us back? So Jim Buss, Jeannie, Mitch Kupchak, they got to come up with a plan to get the Lakers back. So what is that? They just don't have the talent to win. Coach Byron Scott got them playing hard. They should have beat Milwaukee the other day. They were leading in Milwaukee, lost the game in overtime. Same thing in Orlando. Played them, should have won in regulation, lost in overtime. So they're playing to win.
Other news, former Kentucky star Anthony Davis on hand as UK took on LSU. The undefeated Wildcats at a dogfight with the Tigers. Keith Hornsby with the theft and the bucket, capping a 16-0 LSU run as the Tigers take a 66-60 lead. But UK freshman Carl Anthony Towns with a huge hook shot with just over a minute to go helps give the Wildcats a lead once again at 70-69. 6 ticks left. Tigers with a chance for the win, but Hornsby can't get the Wild 3 to fall. Kentucky stays unbeaten, pulling out a 71-69 win in the Bayou. Ducks goaltender Ilya Bryzgalov is getting his 6th start of the year, not doing so hot tonight against Florida as the Panthers scored twice in the first period. When all was said and done, Bryzgalov allowed 3 goals and just 8 shots. He now is 1-5 in games started on the season. His backup, Job Gibson, not any better. Ducks down 4-1 when Tomas Fleischmann is stopped by Dave Boland. He's there for the rebound as the Panthers dominate the Ducks 6-2.
Have a hot date tonight? We should warn you that tonight is the busiest breakup day of the year. Eyewitness News reporter Rob Hayes fills us in on the dreaded Red Tuesday.
It's the most romantic time of the year, a day when love blooms, gifts are exchanged, and couples celebrate their time together.
Valentine's Day.
But Valentine's Day is on the 14th. Today is a very different holiday.
Dump Day.
Yep, Dump Day, also known as Red Tuesday.
I've never heard of it.
It's pretty new. The British online dating site IllicitEncounters.com surveyed 3,000 people and found that just 4 days before Valentine's Day, it's the top dumping day of the year.
People dumping their significant other before the big day.
Yeah.
So they don't have to buy them presents. That's so cruel. Sounds like a lot of people get dumped.
It wasn't too hard finding someone involved in a dump day relationship, or at least close to one. This guy over here, he broke up over the weekend.
Apparently I jumped the gun a little bit too early, huh?
The reason? Commitment and cash.
It's a big expense involved. It happens. It's that time of year.
And here's another thing that may bum you out about that survey. Of all the people who are breaking up in the days before Valentine's Day, most of them aren't doing it face-to-face. They're doing it electronically.
The number one breakup method? Texting.
Oh, okay, that's awful. Yeah.
That's really scummy.
It's very sad, but it doesn't surprise me.
Oh, I've done that a lot myself. Because, you just don't have time to go over the talking and everything.
So if things have been a little funky with your significant other, you may want to think twice before taking any texts today.
But hey, you're better off without him.
In Sherman Oaks, Rob Hayes, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
David, do you have something to tell me in person?
Dear Ruta Bay, welcome to Dumpsville. Population you.
You don't have to deal with parking. I'm right here.
Okay. I tried. More news straight ahead here at 7:30.
And ahead tonight on Eyewitness News at 11 on ABC7, what led to this fast food worker's epic meltdown and what his manager did that has people talking. And most men do it every day. Should women do it too? It's a simple act that could keep your skin looking younger. These stories and all the late breaking news on Southern California's #1 late newscast, Eyewitness News at 11 on ABC7. Thanks for joining us for Eyewitness News at 7:30 on LA56. Law and Order SVU is next right here on LA56.
Enjoy your Red Tuesday.